Welcome, welcome. So, just going back to Shift, with Shift Book, I would highly recommend getting this. If you guys are on Audible, you can get there. You can get it on Amazon, Apple Books. You can get it in a lot of different places. I know if you're a brand new Audible user, you can get it for free on Audible. There may be some additional discounts that happen with this book at a later time, but this is the book that I would recommend you guys reading. Jay is actually doing a series on each of the tactics in Shift. So you guys are going to be seeing those videos. They started yesterday and they're going to go for probably the next 11 or so days. So just keep an eye out for those videos. They're going to really help you dive into Shift. But to talk about what we're talking about today with Command Your Pipeline, I want to just call attention to tactic number 4 and tactic number 5. I've got a little sticky note on those particular pages. Tactic number 4 is find the motivated lead generation. So I would highly recommend kind of going along with what we're going to talk about today with the pipeline of business, reading that one, and tactic number 5, which is get to the table lead conversion. So everything from the moment when someone raises their hand and says, I might want to do business with you, buying, selling, or investing in real estate, from that moment to the time that they go to the closing table, that is the pipeline and everything that happens in between. So what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is just some information about KWCommand and how that can help you track people along that process. So I'm actually going to get in here and share my screen with you really quickly. Share. Okay. So in KW Command, I was already doing something in here. So let me go back and get out of this. I was actually working on an Instagram post for talking about virtual open houses. So that'll be something we may even talk about a little bit today. So back to KWCommand, you're going to go to KWCommand by going to agent.kw.com and log in with your My Keller Williams username and password. When you get here, the applet that we're going to be discussing today is actually this little opportunity applet, the one that looks like a handshake, right? Of course, we're not handshaking now. We're elbow bumping or air fiving or air hugging, whatever it is we're doing. But opportunities is the handshake icon. So on the handshake icon, we're just going to actually go into opportunities, and I'm going to give you the overview. So the overview of opportunities is going to show you a listing and a buyer pipeline as well as a lease pipeline. So this is kind of the general overview of the different listing information, buyer information, and lease information. And so it's going to tell you how many people do you have in the cultivate stage, how many people do you have in the appointment stage, the active stage, under contract, and how many have you closed. So it's a tracking device, a tracking mechanism. When you're looking at this, you're going to see your name at the top. You may also see your team name. If you're on a team, you'll see your team name right here. So it'll be your name and then XYZ real estate team, and then an all opportunities, and then an all discussions. So really and truly, this is going to be a pretty simple overview of the system. But when we dive into understanding how we can make it work for us, I think it'll help you guys a lot as you're tracking business, especially right now. So looking at this screen, beyond the cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed for each of these different types of deals, you see on this right-hand side, GCI, potential income and probable income. So potential income means the potential income total. So if I have a $100,000 house and I'm listing it for 6%, and I'm going to probably have one side of that deal, 3% of that transaction is $3,000, right? So the potential income for that $100,000 house is $3,000. The probable income will actually adjust along the way that you move through this pipeline. So as you start with cultivate, it will be there, probably like 5% chance of closing, right? 5% chance. So whatever 5% of $3,000 is, it'll put right here. And then as you move people along the pipeline, it's going to increase the probability that it's going to go to the closing table. I've had some people love that feature because they like that kind of probability and statistics. I've had some people hate that feature. So it's there. There's not a way for us to turn it off. If you do not like the feature, I would definitely recommend going up to the question mark and chatting with support and giving feedback, and just say, hey, I have some feedback. I don't really feel like this is valuable. So I think make sure to give feedback when you have feedback. If you can give it to me, however, I think it means a lot more when it comes from multiple people instead of just me inundating them. They probably see my name on email and go, oh no, not her again. So right here with the potential income, this is going to tell you the total commission from all listing, buyer, or lease opportunities that you have potentially going to happen. So just know that when you look at the side over here. Wanted to address that because that's a question I get pretty regularly. So up here across the top, you have a couple of other things that I want to talk about. You have show comparison. So show comparison, there's a little tooltip right here that is going to explain how well are you converting your opportunities. You can compare your pipeline and performance with all command agents. So the caveat to this is that you're going to have 50 opportunities or more in order for the comparison tool to actually show a comparison between you, your performance, and other agents. So you're going to have to make sure that you have put in at least 50 opportunities. That could take you a couple of months, that could take you a couple of years. So it just really kind of depends on the level of business that you're doing. And you may not want to see that. So toggle it on or toggle it off. If you toggle it on, it just means once you've hit 50 opportunities, it will start showing you the average time comparison between you and others down here below your opportunities. Okay, so continuing on, the import button. So the import button is a way for you guys to pull transactions in from Dotloop that you already have active. So if you have transactions going on, you can pull them in through the import tool. Now, that being said, if you have a whole lot of transactions, that might be really valuable for you to pull them all in so you're not having to recreate all of them. If you just have a couple things going on, I think it would be worth your while to practice entering them in here so that you understand how to enter them in here and understand the processes of that. So I would definitely recommend creating the opportunities kind of as you go, or entering the few that you have going on if you don't have a ton. Like if you have 20, you may want to import them in because that may be too much for you to enter in here. Okay, so then of course the create opportunity button, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, and then the settings. So the settings, if I click on settings, it's actually going to take me over to the settings inside of Command talking about opportunities. So if I go over here, it's going to take me to command settings, and if I go to command settings and opportunity settings, the design template right here is going to talk about this, the sketch house template you want to use to send offers to your clients and brokers, right? Or co-brokers. So you can actually come up with a template for your deal. I actually haven't played with this. This is a newer setting that you can do. I just wanted to let you know that it's here. And as I dive into that, we will learn that together. So that's a way that you can do something with your settings. So I'm actually going to go back to opportunities. So just kind of as a cover the top section right here, your name, your team name, if you have one, all opportunities and all discussions. So if you have a team, you'll be able to actually assign opportunities as you create them to other team members. You'll be able to have a discussion back and forth, kind of like a IM, an instant messenger kind of situation with the transactions. That's what the discussions are. If you're an individual agent, you can have discussions with your market center leadership. So you can send messages and they can send messages back, very much like the compliance messages you guys get from Dotloop right now. So it works very similar. So when you're looking at yours, you're going to see all of your active opportunities. And then if you look at all opportunities, you're going to see all of the opportunities that you've entered. So I have things that were actually where I imported my old loops from past clients, right? So I have past client loops in here. And then I have a cultivate opportunity that I created with my fake buyer account right here. You can see her right here. And then I also have a listing that was our listing referral that I had sent to another agent in another area, and that listing closed, and that showed the total volume, even though that was not my total volume. I really just wanted to practice an opportunity because it was something I had real that was going on. So when you look at this, you're going to be able to filter those opportunities. It's really great because you can filter it by the tags that you've placed on the opportunities, which I'll explain in a minute. So you can filter through and figure out your ROI, your return on investment, on certain types of, I guess, lead generation that you're doing. So if you know, like, this particular one was a referral, if you know that this person came from the app, if you know that these were imported from Dotloop, if you know that someone came from Zillow or came from Realtor.com or came from your open house or any other thing that you're doing, door knocking, farm, if they came from another source, you'd be able to look at the tag and filter those opportunities to see how many of my opportunities were actually referrals, or how many of my opportunities came from Zillow. Like, is it really worth me spending money for Zillow? Because how many of the people I'm actually closing came from Zillow? So you can do that, and at the end of the year, that'll help you, or even quarterly, you can assess that to see if it's something valuable for you to continue to spend money. So that's probably one of the biggest things I love about filtering the all opportunities. In here, you can also, when you click filter, you can see archived opportunities. So maybe you started something and it archived because nothing ever happened with it. You can see anything like these that have suddenly shown up as active or appointment that I've used in class. You'll be able to see all of those opportunities that I created and maybe archived for whatever reason. So I have now removed those filters. You can search by address, you can view and create smart views. So if you wanted to see specific filters, like maybe you wanted to see all of your closed transactions that have the tag referral, you can apply that filter to your opportunities and then create a smart view that's called referral deals. So then if I create referral deals, I can then go into my filter with turning off my filters, right? And now everything's back. I can say, show me my referral deals. So then now everything tagged is going to show as a referral deal. Okay, so that's the all opportunities section. I'm going to go back to my main opportunity screen. And actually, I want to show you guys, let me go over to Facebook really quick. And I apologize, with Facebook, you get what you get and you don't know what you're going to end up getting when people are posting. So let me just go right over here to our original KW Chattanooga page. So on our original KW Chattanooga page earlier today, I posted some resource materials for you. I'm going to show you on the Facebook group how to get those materials, because I think this is going to be a crucial step to you guys getting everything set up the way that you want it to be set up. So when you guys come in here in the Facebook group, you'll see files. So if you see files right over here on the left-hand side, click on files. I will open up a new screen that shows you all the files that have been uploaded. So 3 hours ago, you will see that I created a listing opportunity stage checklist and an opportunity checklist Word document. So I'm actually just going to open this opportunity checklist Word document for you because it's a really great document. I'm going to open this and let you guys see it. Let me just make sure that I bring my shared window to the front. New share. Okay, let's share pages. All right, so pages. So I am, let's see, where's my pages? Share pages opportunity checklist. Okay, so now we're back over here. So your checklist here, they have a buyer checklist and they also have a listing checklist. So looking at this, looking at the cultivate stage, they have the watch, nurture, hot, appointment, scheduled, scheduling, kept, active, searching, showing, negotiations, under contract, inspections, appraisal, clear to close, closed, 100%, and then the things that they would be doing. Same thing for listings, cultivate, appointment, active, and under contract and closed. So I apologize about this because this is reading a Word document in Apple Pages. So let me go back over. I'm going to stop that share real quick and share you guys back to my Google Chrome screen. Okay, so back to my Google Chrome screen. Looking at that checklist and looking at the different stages right here, you guys will be able to see how we create these different checklists for different phases. So I'm going to open Cultivate and Listings. So when I open Cultivate and Listings, you're going to see that now all of those different stages are right here across the top. So you have Cultivate, Appointment, Active, Under Contract, Closed. But inside of Cultivate, you have a kind of it opens up more tabs, if you will. You have a watch phase, you have a nurture phase, and a hot phase. So inside of those different phases, you're going to have people that are moving along the pipeline throughout those phases. When people are in these phases between watch, nurture, or hot, you're going to probably have activities that you're doing in order to move them forward, right? Because when you get them in Cultivate, your goal is for them not to live in Cultivate forever. You want them to move to appointment, to active, to under contract, to closed, right? Cultivate to closed. So with the way that this system works, you want them to be moving constantly through the system. And sometimes you have people who are 3, 6, 12, 18 months out from making their actual move forward to the active stage. But with this system, you're going to be continually able to know where people are at all times. So looking at Cultivate, you have Watch, Nurture, and Hot. If you guys go up here to the Edit Stages button, if you click on that, it's going to show you the different stage names right here, right? So you have Watch, Nurture, and Hot. Inside of these, there are checklists. So you can edit with the little crayon over here, the different checklist items of things that you would want to be doing during that time. So I'm going to stop the share again, just so that I can, oops, let me move that over, stop share, and I'm going to share back to you this opportunity checklist for just 1 second. So in the Cultivate phase, you have got some options of things to do. This is only a suggestion. You may run your business totally different. However, I feel like this is going to help you at least get your mind working on the things that you would want to be doing. So on here, you have obtain email address, tell your story, obtain phone number, obtain current address. Next, follow up with contact after initial contact is made, add to smart plan. Email, refer to lender partners, call, identify search criteria, email, send call to action. So you have the Watch, Nurture, and Hot as they're moving through different things that you might need to be doing during that particular stage of the business. Same thing with appointment. So then here you have create client folder, buyer discussion topics, buyer consult, conduct buyer pre-qual, schedule buyer consult, add buyer consult to opportunity as an activity. So it's kind of walking you through a checklist of items that you could be doing. And there may be more, there may be less. You may omit some of these, you may add to this. But these are different things that may be happening in these different stages of your business. So I've provided this to you as a resource so that you have an opportunity to figure out what are the things that you need to do in those particular phases, okay? So I'm gonna share back to you all, again, the Chrome screen. Here we go. All right, so we're back to Command. So now that we're looking at the Cultivate stages, if you guys wanna edit the checklist, you would go over to the crayon and you have the ability to change these names. So you could change the name if you want to, because sometimes these names don't match what we want, right? So you can go over here and actually change the name with the crayon, or you can click on the checklist itself and edit the checklist items. So on here, I have get email address, get phone number, get physical address. I might also want to add another item like, I don't know, sample item, okay? So I can add that in there. I can also drag these into a different order. Maybe I want to try to get their phone number first, or I want to get their email address, and then I want to make sure I get their physical address so I can set them up on monthly neighborhood nurture. And then maybe I want to do the sample item and then get the phone number. So whatever order I want them in the watch phase, that's something that I can do. If I entered something and I said, you know what, I really don't want that, I can delete it totally, or I can edit it. So as I put these things into the checklist for each piece of the cultivation stage, right, each move that people make forward. And with cultivate, you're really kind of thinking of them moving forward with one step forward, kind of a baby step situation. So they're just taking like one more step forward and one more step forward. So really, you're really just watching them until you can get their contact information. So some of this, you may have initially and you may not need to obtain it, but you want to make sure that you have those things when you've gone through this watch stage. So you save it and you can go through the additional checklists and add items as needed or move them around as needed. So that is actually how you add the checklist items to the different stages here. So you can also add a stage. So maybe you have watch, nurture, and hot. Maybe there's something that happens before watch or after watch, or there's something that happens in another spot of cultivate. You can add another stage. That's absolutely fine. So that's something that you can do. Now, I'm going to go back to my listings. So the same is true for all of the rest of these. As I click on appointment, I can then edit the stages. I can add items to the checklists. I can actually change the names if I want to, or add additional stages to this process. So you're really just going to walk through each of these buttons. So start with cultivate and then edit, and then walk through each of these three, add more if you need to, then go back. Go to appointment, walk through these, edit the stages, add steps if you need to, and then go back. So you're going to go through each of these for listings, buyers, and you can do it for leases too if you do leases, if you do rentals and potential renters, right? If you use that as part of your business, or part of that is your business, you want to make sure you do that too. So, but for right now, listings and buyers are the most crucial for you to do. So just walking through here and getting all of those pieces set up. So just a piece of information. When you get to active, there's actually going to be more than these three. You're going to have 4. You have the legacy over here, right? So you have more. So you want to make sure that people are put into the correct location. So under contract, same thing. Under contract actually has 5. You have what yours will say is escrow. I've changed it to say binding agreement. Remember how we do that? We go to edit stages and we just click on this button right here and adjust the name. I didn't think that in our market, escrow was a term that we use. We use binding agreement, or BAD, binding agreement date. So whatever you are going to know about these different pieces of your pipeline, different stages, you want to make sure that they're named the things that click in your mind. Because if it's named escrow and that doesn't click in your mind, you're not going to use it, right? So just make sure you name it the way that you want it to be. So you can actually scroll over on this one and it takes you all the way to clear to close. Okay. So on these where you start seeing things where you have to scroll to the right, sometimes it's easier for people to click a list view and then just see everything in a list view, right? So I can see everything in my list view so that they're all here, instead of looking at them in the board view where they're there for you to move them around. And of course, when they get to closed, then you're going to have everything there in the closed section. Oh, and it signed me out. So we're going to just sign back in real quick. and we will keep going with what we were working on. All right, so looking at opportunities, I'm just gonna refresh my opportunities. It's very simple to get in here and create all of your phases and stages and getting all of your checklists added up and everything the way that you want it to be. Now, the important part of that is once your infrastructure is created, you need to start putting people in your opportunities so that you can track them along your pipeline, because it's so crucial in every day of your business, but especially today with all of the stuff that's happening in the world. Do you not think it would be easier for you to be able to know at a moment's glance, at a moment's notice, what do I have going on? Where do I have people? Who could I be moving forward into an appointment or an active stage, so that, or getting them under contract, so that I can make sure that my family is provided for moving forward? So I think it's super important to do that. So as we go down here, I'm going to actually show you the one that I already have in the system, and show you how to move them, and then we'll enter one. So we're kind of building layers as we learn. So under buyers, I have this that is right here. Let me see if I need to let people in. Admit. All right. So underneath buyers, we can go right here to this cultivate stage. And if I click on it, you're going to see, and I'm actually going to move her over back over here. So if she is brand new, I just entered her in because she came in through my app and she started looking at houses, and I want to make sure that I have her logged into my opportunities, because I know that she's a potential buyer and I want to move her through the process. So right here, I have her in watch. I entered her in previously, and in a minute, again, I will make sure to show you how to enter one once we know how, once it's entered, how to move it, right? So once it's here, you can have the opportunity to look at the checklist and see what needs to be done. So on this buyer checklist, I actually haven't created buyer checklist yet. So you would be able to go in here, and if there was a checklist, you could check it off. And if you needed to add an item, you could. So you could say, reach out to get phone number, save, right? So I can set a due date for that too. So now that I'm working with this person, I can add different additional items to their checklist. So if I have that checklist pre-created and then there was something else that I needed to do, I could add that item to this person's specific opportunity, and it wouldn't add that specific item to every opportunity, just this one. So you can add that item. You can even set a due date for it. I can say I need to reach out to her tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon. So now I have this due, and it's going to pop up for me tomorrow to remind me to do it. So if I hit close, I can see this checklist item, and then on her opportunity, if I click on it, it's going to open up everything. So on here, it's going to show everything that I had entered in. And then there's also other tabs. So as I look at her opportunity and I learn more information, I can add the information. So right now, I only have really basic information. Like, I don't know when she's going to close. I don't know if she has a co-buyer. I don't know what her time frame is. I don't know any of these items that are just aligned. I only know this because I looked at all the houses that she was looking at and estimated it, right? So that was something that I did when I created this opportunity. I don't know what property she's going to buy, but as those things occur, you can come in with the crayon and edit that piece of information. So just click the crayon, and you'll be able to go in here and adjust anything that you need to adjust within the transaction itself. So that is in the detail screen. Heaven forbid if anything was to happen to this opportunity and you reached out to her and she discovered that she had a really low credit score, or she decided that she was not going to buy, she couldn't get qualified, it was a bad number, bad email, she never responded. any of those situations and any other situations you can think of, you can actually lose the opportunity. And by doing a lost opportunity, it doesn't actually it kind of just like archives it off. It like puts it away and you don't see it anymore. It doesn't sit in your pipeline as potential business. So just know that you don't want to hit lost until it's truly lost, but you can resurrect it back if you ever lose it before and they come back, because sometimes people do resurrect. It happens. So in the buyer profile part of this one, so she's registered with my consumer app. And eventually you're going to be able to manage the steps of the guide through here. You're going to be able to see where she's at and be able to move her forward through the guide yourself. So this is obviously under construction since it's step NaN of 0, undefined. So just things that you can know about what's coming. As far as documents, if you click on documents, it's going to show you that there's nothing in here for her. There's no consultation, there's no under contract, there's no close, there's nothing here. What's cool about the opportunity system now is that you can actually start the transaction from in here. So I would say for your next new buyer or seller, to practice by entering the opportunity and then starting the transaction from inside this system. So if I do that and I click on dot loop, because we're still using dot loop, right? If I click on dot loop, it'll actually open dot loop and create the loop and walk us through that piece. I'm not going to do that today because I'm not going to dive that deeply into this. But as we approach starting to look at compliance, probably after we move to the new building, we'll start looking at how can we go ahead and start moving toward doing compliance within Command, because everything should still work even if we're using dot loop only. So, but I would definitely recommend walking through this process and testing it. So the next piece of this is offers. So as you guys receive offers, you can actually add the offers into the person's profile and you can link at them side by side. You can send them the seller or buyer an offer URL where they can look at the offer, kind of the overview of it. So you're creating kind of the terms of the offer. So this is great for sellers, especially because they can kind of see like a net sheet for either side, either offer, and decide like what is going to be the best terms for me, like what's the best offer for me to actually move forward with. So from here, like once you enter the offers in, you'll be able to accept an offer or reject an offer. So once you've accepted a specific offer, you'll be able to move into the commissions tab. So the commissions tab will light up once you have an accepted offer. So that's really, really cool. Again, these are some previews of things that we're going to teach when we teach you guys the basics of compliance. The notes is just a place that you can come in and you can add notes about this particular transaction. You'll be able to put any information that you need to know so that you are always aware and able to access those notes. And the timeline, this is going to show you the log of all the actions in the opportunity, right? So everything that you've done is going to show you the timeline. So this is really, really great for you to kind of see like, okay, when did I start with this person? When did I move them? When did I do anything with them? So as you move them around, you're going to be able to have a whole log of all of those actions. So just wanted to kind of walk through all of these different tabs with you. All right, so I'm going to go back to the sales pipeline. And I'm actually going to click on cultivate one more time so we can see this card. So now, once you have people into the pipeline and you're moving them through the different actions, you can come in and you can check off things as you do them on their lists. And then as you move them through, you can pick them up by the 6 dots on the side and move them across. So sometimes you could have somebody in watch or nurture who suddenly is ready to like make an appointment with you, right? Or they could be at hot and they need to move over from hot to the next phase of the process. Regardless, you can pick them up again, just like you picked them up and moved them this way or this way. You can pick them up and move them up here to the appointment section. So when you move them to appointment, you just want to make sure, I'm trying to get over appointment. It didn't go. I have some issues with my mouse moving people to appointment. It doesn't light up green. Okay, so what I found is the list view tends to work a little bit easier moving people into appointment. Oops. Did it move them to active? It did. It moved her to active. There we go. So now, here she is right here. So as you can see, it still happens to me where people don't want to move around. They're constantly working on this. So just know that when you lift them up over here, as you move them over, it's going to put the green line at the bottom underneath where they're going to be going. So I think I have to move it from here to here. I'm just trying to see, where did it go? Okay, so she ended up in under contract. Like I said, as you can see, it's interesting for all of us right now as we move people around. I'm going to actually put a support ticket in for this because it should not be this difficult to move people around. In fact, it's been lighting up green every time prior to this that I've tested it. So there you go, right? So as you move them through the process, it may be easier through list view. You can go in and do that. And here's the other great thing, guys. If you can't get this click and drag thing to work like we were just trying, and you just watched me hiccup through that, you can actually go into the details and edit the details and move them forward. So you should be able to move them forward. So if they were in appointment and they need to go to under contract, you can click under contract and it will move them forward so that you know where they're at. And then when you go back to this, it's going to show you that she's under contract now in this first column. Okay. All right. So I'm going to actually go back to my Zoom really quick and just see if there's any questions that have come in. There's no questions that have come in. Do you guys have any questions right now? Okay, if you have questions, feel free to type in the chat box or feel free to interrupt me and stop me at any time. Okay. All right, so we're gonna keep forging forward. All right, so back to Google Chrome. So inside of opportunities, let's talk about creating an opportunity. So the first thing that you guys need to know is creating an opportunity requires that the person that you're creating the opportunity for already be in your contacts. So if I click create opportunity, just for fun, for an example, I'm going to show you a listing opportunity. If I start to type a client, it's only going to pull up, if the person's name is Bob, the people in my database that are named Bob. It's not going to give me the option to create a new person named Bob. So if Bob is not yet in your contacts, you're going to want to go back to contacts and re-edit that person in there. Okay. So I'm going to use this name right here. So client, you're going to type in their name and select them. If they're not here, then you're going to want to go out and go back and add them as a contact first. The great news is you can create the opportunity from their contact record. You don't have to keep coming back and forth. It just doesn't let you right now add a new contact from here. So if you're going to create an opportunity inside of opportunities, make sure they're already there. So we're going to put Daryl Borden and then listing, and I think I'll just put the address after that, because I know it's his name. I want to remember who it is. It's a listing and it's 123 Main Street. So I want to remember that stuff. This is where the tags come in. So tags are great. If I know that this person is from my sphere of influence, I could create an SOI tag. If I know that this person was a Zillow lead, I could create a Zillow tag. If I know that this person was a referral, I already have a referral tag. So knowing where this person came from is important to tag them in the back end so that you know what your return on investment is. So I'm going to do SOI, so sphere of influence. For those of you who don't know what SOI is, I use a lot of acronyms and I try my best to tell you what they are. So SOI, and they can have more than one. So he's SOI, and maybe he also has my app. Maybe he also is a past client, all of those kinds of things. You can add multiple tags. So in here, you can enter an estimated close date if you know it, but right now when you're first creating it, you may not. Estimated list price, you may have already done a CMA, so you may know, but if you don't know, you don't have to enter it. Just look for the different things that have the red asterisk, and then you'll know. So for a listing, we typically list at 6%, give or take, depending on circumstances. So one side of that transaction is 3%. And just note that if I'm listing his house and I happen to also catch a buyer at my open house and become a facilitator and end up getting both sides of the 6%, I would create a buyer opportunity for the other 3%. So it's 3% in here, and then when I get my buyer, it's 3% in theirs. So then opportunity phase. You can only create opportunities in cultivate, appointment, or active. So in the first 3 stages, you can't create an opportunity in under contract or closed. You can create them in active if they were already under contract and just drag them over. So just know if they're beyond active, you want to make sure that you start with active and then drag them over. You want to start them wherever they are or closest to wherever they are. So for this person, we'll start them with cultivate. Maybe they're actually a hot lead because they reached out to me and said, hey, I know you sold my last house or my neighbor's house, and I know we go to church together, so can you sell my house? I mean, people can reach out with any story, and they could become hot, and they could skip a couple of phases, right? So looking at this, when we enter him in and create that opportunity, you're going to see him pop up over here, and it's going to show you all of those details of the transaction. So on the details of the transaction, it's going to show you just what you've entered in. So if there's a lot of things we didn't know, and we can always go back in here and enter that information as we know it. So with him, we may know he's 123 Main Street, but we don't know if it's Ooltewah or Chattanooga or whatever. We just know a little bit of piece of information. We have to come back later and enter the rest. So from here, you'll be able to also look at the seller profile and see if this person has registered on your consumer platform. If they haven't, this is a great opportunity to share your app with them so that once they download your app and register on your app, it'll reflect that registration right here. So it's just really important for you guys to share with people as they become opportunities in your pipeline and before that even. So looking at his information, if we go back to the pipeline, you'll see him now right here on the screen. So because I didn't enter a potential list price, I don't have any potential income, right? Or probable income. But if I go here to cultivate and I open him up and I discover that once I've done the CMA for his house, I know that he's probably going to list his property. Where is it? Right here. He's going to list it for $250,000. And I save that. Then as soon as I go back out to my pipeline, now you see the probable income and the potential income. So he's at a 10% close probability in the hot cultivate stage. But potentially he could mean $7,500 of income for me on just one side of the transaction. So remember, if I brought the buyer, then he would mean $15,000 of potential income for me when I added the buyer down here. So I hope that this is starting to click and make sense as we have started creating opportunities and moving them through the pipeline. I do want to go to a contact record and show you when I enter a new contact, or if I've entered a new contact, how would I create an opportunity from their contact record? So let's go back to contacts. And what we'll do, sorry, the internet is being slow. We will look for Sunny Buyer. And now maybe I've been in communication with Sunny Buyer, and I've discovered that not only is she going to buy a new house, she needs to sell her current house. So I've created the opportunity for her already for her house that she wants to buy. But now I get to create the opportunity for her to sell her house. So if I had entered her in, I could then come to the opportunity button on the right-hand side of her contact record and click Create Opportunity. It's going to open a very similar looking screen as to what we just looked at. And in here, so it's a listing opportunity, Sunny Buyer listing 456 Rainbow Road. Okay. And so she came from my app. And now I've done some looking on her particular home, and I've discovered that she's probably going to list this house for $199,900 at 3%. And she's actually ready to schedule an appointment. So you can come in here and add the opportunity. And not only will it show you her opportunities over here, you can go back to your opportunity screen. And now my listing opportunities will have changed from our last view. We saw the $250,000 cultivate, but now we have $199,900 in appointment. So my probable income and potential income has increased because I've added new opportunities. So as you guys are entering the opportunities, you're able to start to track where people are at in your pipeline of business. From here, you're going to be able to make better decisions about the ways that you're marketing to people. You're going to be able to make better decisions about everything that you're doing with the lead generation and lead follow-up because you have an idea of where they are. And sometimes, maybe people sit and cultivate for a while and they're just kind of looky-loo, or they're just kind of kicking tires, and it helps you have better conversations about, what would it take for you to go ahead and set appointments to start looking at houses? What could I be doing to help you? What do I need to be doing to serve your real estate needs? Because I really believe that once we have a 30,000-foot view, which is this screen right here, when we have this view, then we have a better picture of the way to serve our customers. So this runs true for our leadership as well. Our leadership team for many, many years has been tracking people that we have appointments with who are interested in real estate, or maybe real estate in other companies. So we do the same thing. So what we're asking you all to do with your business is what we've been modeling for you for a number of years. So as we grow ourselves and grow our company, and it works the same way through a pipeline as you guys growing your business using a pipeline. So if there's anyone on here right now with me who has questions, I really want to make sure that I address your questions. I'm going to look and see if I can look at the chat box really quick. Let me grab the chat box. I don't see any questions coming in on the chat box. I'm going to wait just another minute and leave the chat box to the side. But definitely, if you guys have questions, once you watch the recording, please let me know. Please reach out to me and let me know. I believe that this is really some great information to help you guys move forward with using Command in a very real and tangible way for your business. Again, please feel free to reach out. And if you guys need any resources during this time when we're kind of disconnected and working with each other virtually. I don't want you to feel that disconnection. I want you to be able to reach out to me and know that I'll be able to Zoom with you individually, and I'll also be able to send you any kind of screen recordings of anything that you need demonstrated. So those are some things that I want to make sure that you know, is that I'm here to offer you value, and I'm here to offer you service just the same level as what it would be if you were here in the office every single day. As you can see, we're here in the office, we're packing boxes and getting ready for the new office, and we're just a week away, and it's just a really exciting time. So feel free, again, to reach out to me with any questions. I truly hope that this is helping you guys learn and grow your business, and just get out there and start doing things differently. I know the things that we did yesterday maybe don't work today. Everything has shifted. And that's why this book is so crucial for you guys right now to go ahead and dive right back in and start reading or listening to it, or both. But, innovate differently, think differently. There's so many ideas about virtual open houses and different things that you can be doing. Imagine if you just took time to go walk through all your listings and take a video of those and save them, like to YouTube or other particular channels that you might use, like Vimeo. And then anytime an agent reaches out to you with a question, you can say, hey, I've already done a walkthrough. Here's a walkthrough. You don't even have to go. You don't have to take your person if they're afraid to go, or whatever the case may be. Just know that we're here to help you innovate. Keller Williams has been for years a very innovative company, and we're going to continue to be innovative, which is why we're doing what we're doing now, is bringing you all kinds of amazing live opportunities to learn. And just know, again, we're here for you. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. I truly hope that you all have a wonderful day, and feel free to, again, reach out anytime. I'm here to help. Have a great day, Keller Williams.